What's going on, YouTube? It's the North End, a Premier League fantasy / fan show, and it's go time.
This is the North End. This is the North End.
What's up, guys? Paul Forrest, how are you? It's the North End. It's the Premier League fan show. It's sometime here in the basement, somewhere in Toronto, where it's not necessarily the time I'm at, because apparently the world works in different time zones depending on where the position of the sun is. It's magic. I don't even know how it works, but because of technology, California and JP California can be right here. How's that work? I'll never get my head around it. I'll never understand
We're
it.
solar powered here actually now, so everything's just running on the sun, and the sun is out in full force. It's beautiful, and it's quintessential California time now. It's the time. It's summer. Summer
Really
all
wouldn't
for the
be a
next 8
show
months.
about Premier League action if it
Without
didn't have
talking
a
about the
JP California
California
weather update for California.
It's my name.
Crazy.
I was born in
Also joining us from,
California.
I think, Toronto, but it's hard to tell because he's a globe-trotting adventurer. He's a gentleman adventurer.
Czech
This is
Republic. I don't know.
Yo, I'm actually back in Toronto as of yesterday.
Where were you at? Where were you at last?
My company's head office is in Vienna, and then I stopped by my family's house in the UK because I never get home as often as I should. So there you go. But back in Toronto now.
What a globetrotter. And we're rocking the Inter Milan, I see.
Did we just
Because
go live right now?
You know why? Because hello?
JP, we've been live for about a minute and a half.
My live thing says 12 seconds.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
Good on you.
rocking into Milan because I cannot stand the thought of Man City or Real Madrid winning the Champions League final. And even though they're like major favorites, I'm just like willing it to happen.
can I tell you why I'd be happy with Real Madrid winning?
Go on.
It means Man City had no chance of winning.
Yeah,
Like-
fair enough. I get that.
I mean, I'm sure I will change my opinion as a Man United fan. That's why I say this. If it's Real Madrid Inter Milan final, I'm sure all of a sudden be like, yeah, you know what, man, I can get behind that. But as of right now, I'm like, yeah, fuck. If Real Madrid, if they win, that means Man City didn't even make it.
Fair
Let's
enough.
go.
Good point. I like
Cheers.
that.
My heart will agree with you that I would love Inter Milan to win it, but my head is saying Man City, and it's nice to know money can literally buy you everything you've ever wanted. Like a title, a Champions League, the best players in the world, best coaches in the world. You can buy literally a whole Premier League and just play in it because no one gives a shit. You have money. So, I guess there's that.
Let's go into this conversation then, because I feel like I wanted to talk about the table, but like, you know what?
Let's
The
move forward.
the opening graphic of the show, everybody's talking about it. It's about time we maybe mentioned it, because I think I've been avoiding the topic because I find it repulsive. Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, this year, FA Cup final against Man United, should win. Are going to win the league. It's all but decided. Arsenal dropped more points. It's cruise control time now for Man City to win yet another league. Third league on the bounce. The only other team to do that in Premier League, Manchester United, and it's been ages. And they're looking like if they can get past the second leg against Real Madrid, they should have a really good chance of winning Champions League. Put them all together, you get the famed triple. Is this going to happen? Is this team going to do this? What do you guys think?
With Erling Haaland shagging every goal, it's going to happen. That's
What
my
does
Yeah,
it mean?
I mean,
Is he having
if I was
sex with the
betting-
ball? What is
Yes, he
shagging
is
every goal? mean?
literally fucking the balls into the goal. It is
All right.
insane.
Okay.
The amount of goals he is putting in is crazy. Like everyone's like, as I'm just pointing out, like Mo Salah is having a great season. What would you be saying if Mo Salah was at 45 goals for?
I'm not
Liverpool?
done with this yet, because I just
Like,
want to clarify. You
insane.
know you're not supposed to fuck a ball into the net, right? Like you coach. Do we have to
Yeah,
intervene?
I mean, you have to use
Kids.
any
You
body.
coach
I know he coaches kids. I didn't want to say it, but like,
Thank God they don't listen to this shit.
okay.
But if I got
All right,
every
good.
kid I knew to subscribe, we would be sponsored, guys.
Oh yeah, okay, and you would be out of a job because shagging balls into the net is not a technical term. But we digress. Yes, continue. I'm sorry.
He is you know, we talked about this in an argument of like, is Man City playing worse collectively with him in it? It doesn't matter. He gets them the goals to win the games. And I think it's shown because they've looked like they could win trebles before, but it's not like convincing. They look like they are spot on to win a treble.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're saying. I'm asking if you think
Yeah.
and you're saying yes.
I'm gonna give it a 70% chance, 75% chance that it's possible for them.
Okay. Is that so? If we're gonna do this percentage thing, this Vegas odds?
Yeah. If I was betting my money, I would bet that they're going to do it. They do look irresistible. Thing is, Pep's psyched himself out before in certain games, and I'm not even just talking about the Chelsea final, but there's also, you know, them losing to Monaco and other teams that they were supposed to beat along the way before. So it's not all done and dusted. The other thing is, we don't usually talk about Champions League, so I'll get into it really very quickly. Tomorrow's going to be a ridiculous game because it's literally one team wants to hog all the ball and the other team literally plays for moments, like 5 minutes in a game, and we can beat you. So it's literally the irresistible force meets the immovable object. I know Paul will get that 80s wrestling reference.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. So they might not even beat Real Madrid tomorrow. And then when they get to the final against Inter Milan, again, worse teams have beaten City than Inter Milan before. But like the way it's going, to JP's point, it's just this momentum, this juggernaut, this snowball effect. Like, yeah, if I was betting my money, I think they'll do it. But I don't want them to do it.
I'm going to give you guys a kicker on this. I'll even add, if they do not win the Champions League, this to me is a failure of a season for Man City. And I've been saying that last couple of years. I don't think this team was built to win Premier Leagues. I think this team was built to win the Champions League. Like, I think it's
built to win it all, man.
It's like, it is kind of like, it's a super team, right?
Yeah.
Like, they should be at a stage where they're winning Champions Leagues and maybe not always the league as well. But like, to have not won or gone deep in the Champions League, I always feel like that has to be the gauge of a failure season for them. You do not build one of the best teams to ever assembled to win the Premier League. You're spending that kind of money so that you can win and compete and win in the Champions League. So for me, if they don't win, or at least get to the final, maybe I'll soften the blow a little bit. But for me, I kind of feel like if they don't win the Champions League, this is another failed season by the expectations I think that they probably have internally 100%. At the organization.
100%. I would say their B team could get to the semis of the Champions League.
Yeah, and this is probably the most dangerous they've looked in the Champions League. They've tended to have looked not quite the same, or you know, Pep does something weird and kind of tinkers too much and maybe like blows it up himself with his own overthinking.
Look at that brain.
And I say all this with, you know, he's probably going to start Kyle Walker ahead of Erling Haaland as a striker against Real Madrid. Something shocking like that. I still feel like Real Madrid, there's just something like, even when they have a bad team, this tournament is just so advantageous to them. And I know they're older, but like Luka Modric is there, Benzema's there. Like, there's just guys who just get it done, and I don't think Man City still have like that core of guys who are just get it done at the highest level players. They're just fucking phenomenal players, but like Champions League, they get, I don't know, outclassed.
Thank you, Liam.
And Pep is bald.
I think his hair literally is like taking from his brain, so he's just accepted that his brain needs more power, and it's sucking the air. Bald
is incredibly handsome. And he's at the point right now as a manager, he's being described in Ted Lasso as being the master of football tactics. Yeah. Like, he's Ted Lasso famous, guys.
He's made it.
I'm saying, I just said all those things. If I had to put money on it, though, I do have to say I'm like a 90% chance that they win the triple this year. Yeah. I think they should beat Real Madrid. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. But I think they're going to be at home. Real Madrid, I don't think, travel very well this season. And I think the FA Cup final against my Man United,
it's going to be 4-0.
I don't think United have got the players to withstand 90 minutes against these guys. So yeah, as of right now, I'm finding bet sites and I'm putting money down on a triple, and then we can start talking about what this means to the legacy of the sport and the Premier League, that a heavily billion dollar built team with some shady shit behind it and some fucking
They have won the Premier League 5 times in the
real
last
nastiness.
6 years.
Yeah. All on the backs of building a
And-
team in ways that broke rules, all on the backs of
Yep.
ways that involved lawyers and shell companies and all that ugliness. Even though we're coming out of that period where that was an actual thing that played a factor, it's all on the back of that still.
But you can still write it like that timeline that you could use that for is still in effect. Like we might be finding out about all the shifty shit, and there could still be more shifty shit going on in the background
Oh yeah.
that's illegal or setting them up for success for the next whatever, but they can actually ride this wave for shit probably another 5 years.
But that's what's so gross about this team. It's like you can't
It's
even
disgusting. Like
like
what is
I
it-
usually
what does
get
this sport
behind like
become?
like I don't love Real Madrid, but when they win 2 years in a row with Champions League, I'm like, well, fuck, this is something special. Like this is a good team, whatever. But with these guys, I know Pep's an amazing manager and tactician. Like I know it. I know I'm watching that, but I cannot appreciate it because I just feel at the core of what they did to get here is so dirty to me. Again, Man United fan, but like I don't like nouveau riche teams. I don't like new money coming in and breaking rules to like get to the highest level and buy any player they want anytime they want. And that's kind of my thinking about Man City right now, who I think are going to win a triple. And that's a bummer to me. It makes me upset.
Yeah.
This also makes me upset because this is the table. Man City are going to win. As if not worth discussion, I think, anymore, guys. Like we're like,
it's done.
yeah, let's
It's
skip
done.
it.
right. And also, I'm going to put a veto on talking about Arsenal. Arsenal are going to come in second on a hole nobody thought they would be contending for top 4. Most people didn't have them finishing in the top 4, and
did.
they had a good,
Actually, shit. I
great
think I
season.
put him in second.
maybe you did.
I think I did.
And then they're delivering on your expectation, but you were the rarity. I think we could start getting to a point where we can appreciate what they did to get to second in this Premier League and not worry about them not winning the league against one of the most dominant teams in
Right.
Premier League's history when
Yeah.
they're the youngest team in history. I know that's not going to be what everybody wants to hear, and I know there's a lot of like Tottenham fans specifically out there who are dining out on them not winning a title. And I know that there's a lot of fans that hate Arsenal fans because all season they have been terrible. A lot of them have been
God.
obnoxious as fuck.
Obtuse.
But I think officially for me, I'm just going to say we can start talking about Arsenal having done a really good job to get the second and leave it there without using any
yeah.
unnecessary
This-
criticisms.
This 3rd, 4th, 5th spot is super interesting. This 6th, 7th, 8th spot is super interesting.
3rd, 4th, 5th is going to be really interesting. Man United and Newcastle, 2 games away, I think, from 2 wins away from
2 wins away. Yeah.
Solidified.
from just being out of reach of Liverpool, and I believe Brighton as well in that mix.
Yeah. We're technically ahead of Brighton
Newcastle playing again on Thursday. They have a game in hand, I
against
believe,
Brighton.
against Brighton.
Against
so
Brighton.
yeah, that's
And then Liverpool.
I mean,
plays Villa.
Liverpool for me have to be doing the math now. They have to be looking at like Liverpool could be looking at Brighton, going, "Come on, fuck! Like let's get some points off of Newcastle," because that is probably where it gets interesting. Man United. I as a United fan, I have not full confidence, but there's enough home games left in the schedule that they can still lose a game and probably still limp over the line. They won't be as comfortable as I would like it to be, but I think they have a chance. But I think Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool will go down to the final day. Like I think it's going to be really close for one of those 2 teams, Newcastle or Man United.
I have
think
to
they're going to
say,
make it dramatic.
I would be really sad if Newcastle missed out on the Champions League because I think not only are they a team that kind of deserve it because of where they've come from in the last 2 years, but like player for player, you compare them to Man U or Liverpool, and they are punching above their weight. They have been punching above their weight the whole season, and for them to falter at the last what I would say probably 5 weeks or five games would be really rough on them. So I mean, I need them to beat Brighton anyways. So I hope Newcastle can get at least 2 more wins. I think that would do it for them.
It would be nice for them to do it.
Yeah. So there's interesting elements of that though. Firstly, they're the next.
They are the
thing.
new money.
So like
I get that.
We're already contradicting what we were unanimously agreeing to before. The second thing is Leicester were at this point 2 years ago. Now they look like they're getting relegated, but this time 2 years ago in 2020, 2021, the full COVID season, Leicester were in and around the top 4 all season and then fell away right in the last couple of weeks to Liverpool as well that year. And the other thing I'll say is Man U have got enough home games. Newcastle also, they've got the advantage, but it's the form that Liverpool are in versus the form that Newcastle and Man United are in. Yeah, so Man U have won 1 from the last 3, so 3 points from 9, and Newcastle have 4 points from the last 9. So like just enough slowdown to give Liverpool a glimmer. But I just think the fact that they just have to do their business, 2 wins and they're through, probably means Liverpool left it a little bit too late, in my opinion. But any slip up and Liverpool are going to be right there trying.
It's new. I mean, again, I'm a Man United fan, so I can say I'm not comfortable, but I'm confident because the schedule allows me to be a bit. But like Newcastle lose to Brighton on Thursday. They've got Leicester for a win, I'm sure. And then their last game is on the road to Chelsea. And that's like, I mean, Stamford Bridge, even with a struggling Chelsea, Newcastle are so good that I feel like they can comfortably walk in and guarantee a win. And it has to be a win, not a draw, a win against Chelsea. And I have no doubt Liverpool will take all the games they possibly can, all the points that are available on the table and really push because that's where they're at with form. And I think that's where, all the right things are happening right now with Liverpool. Players are coming back. There's some healthiness going on to the crowd. There's some form. So I think the race is more for Newcastle, Liverpool than Man United, Liverpool. But like, it's going to go down at the last day, I think. And this is what's so cool about this.
Yeah.
Because it's just so many things are going to be happening over the next 3 weeks. It's just such a good way to finish. Because usually it's like, oh fuck, it's done and dusted. Like it's a bit of a bummer, but now that we're still having races at the end of the season, even if it's just for Champions League qualification, it's just something to fucking focus on and be excited about. Because I think the relegation race will kind of over the next 2 game weeks, Southampton will be a lock, Leicester will be a lock. Maybe that 3rd spot will be up, but I think Leeds are probably going to lock it down before the last day.
I think they can beat Tottenham because Tottenham's so all over the place right now. And I think it's at Leeds on the final day.
I don't think it matters, man.
I mean, it needs
They're
to be
so
Everton. Everton needs to get 2 points somewhere along the way to kind of keep them out of it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I do think – here's a question for you, Paul. Would you drop out of the Final Four for an FA Cup win?
No.
That means you guys did the double. And stop Man City
I think it's like we did a double. I don't think you can use the word "the" without being misleading.
And you stopped City from the treble.
Oh.
It's a tough choice.
That's the question.
Sophie's choice.
You get 5th place, but you win the FA Cup, and Man City don't.
And it would be Liverpool who takes the 4th spot.
Yep.
It can't be. It can't be anybody else because Brighton
can't be anybody else.
17.
Yeah.
Brighton can only get 17.
Paul, you have to.
I don't have to. Oh, it hurts. Okay, guys, I'll be the one that does it. I'll stop Man City.
There we go.
Fine.
That's the deal. That's the final table, guys. Man, you drop out. Liverpool get in. They actually make it after waiting till fucking the 25th game week. And then Man, you shit the bed for the Final Four, but win the FA Cup in
Yeah,
a stunning
with the caveat,
victory in PKs.
that I need a guarantee that Man United will be sold.
Oh no! You're not getting that no matter what. Like that's not happening.
With the sale? Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know it's not happening.
the sale's happening.
No.
Yeah, sales happening. I think in the history books, I would rather have a trophy and City not. It wouldn't be a trophy. It would actually be a famous trophy for the Man United fans to beat a rival, to stop them from getting the triple. I would remember that more than the opportunity cost of what Champions League qualification means for our stage of our rebuild, and like being able to bring in more money and bring in more like
players.
I almost want. I'm always hesitant to say this. I don't really want to bring in players who just worry about whether or not we're in Champions League next year. That's the wrong mentality for me. Like I just don't think if that's how you're thinking, I don't want to be.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be part of this team. I want you to be a part of this team for the next 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like we will get Champions League if you help us get it. Not I'm only going to come to you if you can guarantee that one season next season we have it. So I don't know. I've thought about it. I feel pretty comfortable with this. If I had to choose between finishing in the top 4 or preventing Man City, or finishing top 4 and getting Liverpool to pip us, to come back from here on the table and surpass us, which would be embarrassing. Or stopping Man City from winning the triple and beating them in the FA Cup final at Wembley, I would take the FA Cup final. I would take the I'm actually starting to even feel good about the decision. I don't even feel like I feel like I'm pretty good.
That is the bullet you have to take.
Yeah, because I can kind of just see myself at the bar going, "It was
worth
it."
Or bullet to the heart, you know.
Because you always remember the last thing that happened. We will have won the FA Cup after we lost Champions League
and 2 titles.
And I would just ride that emotion throughout the summer, and I'd be fine.
1 trophy in a season is good. 2 trophies in a season is really good.
Sure, as long as nobody like tries to fire our manager because of it. Because again, people firing managers put you in a situation where all of a sudden you're fucking talking to Pochettino.
Yeah, you're buying one of your rivals' managers. One of your rivals' famous favorite managers.
Yeah. So this is not guaranteed. This is not confirmed yet, but it is at the state of development, supposedly, that this is expected to happen relatively soon. Pochettino, formerly of Paris Saint-Germain, Tottenham, Southampton, is being considered for what has to be a rival club, because he's a ride or die Spurs guy.
Yeah, it's a rival club for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And going over to Chelsea, which is one of the weirdest things, because somehow these two are rival clubs, but they've exchanged managers like 4 or 5 times that I can think of. Jose Mourinho, that
Antonio
little Conte. There was another guy who was a flash in the pan at Chelsea.
Villas-Boas. Villas-Boas. Yeah.
It's crazy how most of those have won a trophy at Chelsea, go to Tottenham, and can't win a trophy at Tottenham.
Yeah, so far it's gone the other way, right? And the thing is, Chelsea don't have that. I mean, they kind of had that affinity with Mourinho, but he also left twice on not necessarily like his own choice terms. I.e., he got fired. So Chelsea don't really have that affinity with their coaches, and to some extent with their players. Obviously, there was Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Cech. There was a few, but in general, I think to support Chelsea, you just kind of know that there's going to be movement in and movement out. Like it's just part of the thing.
Yeah.
The reason why this one's a little bit awkward is because this guy is the greatest Tottenham manager in modern history, because he came second in the 2 big trophies. So that's why this one's a little bit different. So yeah, I would assume this is going to hurt Brian. I think this would hurt Tottenham fans. Chelsea will probably lap it up, but again, they're not going to have any affinity with him unless he wins. And then even then, if he goes, they just take on the next one. And it's a different mentality completely. I think Tottenham will be wounded by this. Tottenham fans.
I don't even know if
I've
he
heard
should take it. Like if you were, I mean, you have to be pretty hard up for a job, I think is probably the situation he has to be in. But if you were looking at the way Chelsea are running right now, the decisions that have been made, the way they've been building the squad, like the scattershot FIFA
Yeah, you don't get anywhere near this.
American is in charge. Like he left a situation at Spurs where like the ownership were an issue. I think this is a different kind of issue, but there's clearly like
An issue.
Like, are they going to get him the players he wants if the players he wants are very like role playing people, like not flashy? He's got a very young squad. Like, if you wanted to go out and get some older players to balance it, would they understand that? Would they give him free reign? Like, I'm sure it's going to be an attractive offer, and I'm sure he's comfortable going back to London with his family and all those things that come with his job, even if it means burning bridges with Spurs fans and his legacy there. But it's just such a shit show situation right now with Chelsea. I don't know what the draw or appeal of it is. It's still a great club. It's not like I think it's not a great club. It's just is this the right move for him at this point of his career, having kind of not sparkled at PSG and he's had some issues since he left Spurs. Like, I don't know. I see this being risky for him.
The weird thing is him being loved by Spurs fans allowed Spurs an easy out. Spurs should have gone and got him. They should have gone and got him. He was open. He was probably more than available. He probably didn't really want to work with Levy again and probably wanted some form of control over who's going to be their new football director or whatever. But like both Chelsea and Tottenham are taking time to get a manager. Tottenham could have gone and gotten him. And now it looks like Tottenham's coming up worse for wear because they can't get Nagelsmann. And your favorite all-time coach in the last 40 years is gone to your rival. He could win a title with them. He could crash and burn there, whatever. But like, man, Tottenham fans have to be hurting right now.
Agreed.
I'd love if anybody's out there who's a Chelsea fan has an opinion about this. I don't even know if I would be excited to have him if I was a Chelsea fan.
Chelsea fans are not excited. I've seen several of them that just say, you know what? They feel like this is kind of a cop-out appointment. Like he's kind of one of the okay ones that's available. And they're like, all right, young guy, young players, put them together, see what'll happen, throw the paint on the wall so you see what's coming. I don't know if the Chelsea fans are going to take to him. And if that doesn't happen and results don't pick up by halfway through the season, 2/3 of the way through the season, he might not end next year with Chelsea.
Well, that's possible anyway because that's so volatile.
The role of a Chelsea manager,
right?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and he'll go into this knowing that anyway. I just think they get paid so much that I don't think they really look at it like. I can see like non Premier League managers, just like generally, like, when you're plotting your career as like in the corporate world or JP, you're in this, like you're an educator. Like when you're plotting your career, like it's a different mentality versus, I'll go in, if it works out, I'll get X million. If I crash and burn, they're going to pay me out X minus this million. Yeah, I'll do it. Like I just think it's so different. So
100%. It's a win-win for him.
Yeah, I personally think he's going to be pretty successful there. Like, I don't know if he's going to do what they've done in the last 20 years. Like Chelsea have had a pretty exceptional 20 years, like they've had multiple league championships in different eras. And they've won the Champions League twice as well, and then picked up a lot of domestic cups. They've won the Europa. So Chelsea have been fed in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if he brings that kind of success, but at the same time, I think for them, like the fact that they're not even involved in this top 4 race, for example, at the moment, like it's got to hurt them, right? So I think that he's good enough to get them back to that level. But like, will he be the one that takes them to the level that would dethrone a Pep? Like Pep would eat him in his sleep, like Klopp would eat him in his sleep. We've done it before. I just think for Chelsea, there's so many players, there's so much cleanup that needs to be done, and
he's not going to be able to come in next year. He or anybody else going into Chelsea next season will not be able to get them to be a top 4 team.
He might
No,
get
I don't
fourth, but
think
not
so.
a title challenging team.
No, I don't even think JP can get a top 4 team. Like that team is just so flawed.
Yeah.
Like there's so many holes in that team, and it's just so unbalanced that it will take windows to correct. And I don't think I don't think any manager has the opportunity to go in and just be like, all right, well, Raheem Sterling wasn't going to work out. Let's get rid of him. Like,
Yeah.
They're going to have to inherit these players that have already been like, it's going to be a baggage situation for at least the first season, maybe even 2 seasons. And I think, I don't think Chelsea fans are going to have the patience for it because the expectations have been so high for so long. All these other teams that we've been talking about on the table who are going to get better next year, like I don't think Man United really are a top 4 team on paper. They've had over exceeding season, but next season they'll be better because transfer window and Eric Ten Hag second year. Newcastle, I think, are going to spend big this summer to get even stronger in that top 4
Villa are
race.
spend.
Liverpool had a terrible season this year. That doesn't mean they're a bad team. They fucking definitely have it in them to be in that race next year. Tottenham,
Villa.
I don't think they'll fall out. You're going to get a team like Brighton or Villa who are just having a moment over the next couple of seasons. I think Chelsea are so far down right now that they have to look at it as like almost a rebuild season. Whoever's coming in,
This is going to hurt. This is going to really break Chelsea fans because they literally have to learn what it's like not to be challenging for titles year after year. Like this is going to be a reset for Chelsea to the level of Arsenal, like 2005 to 2015, where they literally didn't compete for titles for a decade.
Yeah.
And this could be what's happening to Chelsea. I can't wait because I have a lot of Chelsea fans who kind of are fucking just, they expect that Chelsea should win. Like that's what the league is made for them. And it's going to be great to fucking tear them apart. It was great to tear my buddy Willie apart after we beat Chelsea 2-0 at their place. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, you guys had a really good celebration.
Oh, the best part was I was in Denver and it was only like 5, maybe 8 of us Villa fans and 50 Chelsea fans. And by the end, it was me singing, "How shit must you be? We're winning away." It was amazing.
Okay. I would hate
It was
that.
the greatest.
I would hate that. So this brings us to maybe the next question, because everybody's talking about this now too. Harry Kane. 1 year left at Tottenham. If they're going to sell him, it's going to have to be this summer. Otherwise, he walks for free or he gets an extension. I don't think the extension is likely. I think they're going to make it really hard for him to
Daniel Levy
move on.
Money.
I think Levy's going to look at it as being, you are worth quite a bit to us next season with your 25 goals guaranteed. That even if you walk for free, we're okay with that. That seems to be a mistake.
Money.
It seems like it's a mistake he's made before, and I think he's willing to make that kind of mistake again. Like keeping Eriksen instead of selling him when Eriksen was in his prime and wanted to go. Like I don't think he learns these lessons. So the question I'm going to pose to you guys is, what do you think, if you were Harry Kane's agent, would be his best next move?
Is it time to talk shit about? I'll go first. So I don't think that the Levy cut his nose to spite his face thing is off the table, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think that it's impossible that Harry Kane spends next season at Tottenham and then even walks away as a living legend for free and kind of tries to do the win a title somewhere else thing. The thing is,
now, are you thinking this as his agent? Because that's the game.
If I'm his agent, I think he makes more money that way because there's no transfer fee. So as his agent, I would be saying to him, ride out this year, cement that Tottenham legacy, break even more records. You won't get to share. Yeah, you won't get to share his record, but I'm telling you, you might get to share his record. And basically, next year, instead of someone spending 50-60 million on you this year, just take a big lump sum payment and right after the sunset, and I'll take 10% of that. That's what I'm saying as his agent.
That's a great.
I
So
want to go.
to expand on that, as his agent, bringing this offer to him, what team would you suggest would be best as an ultimate destination a year after when he's a free agent? You're dropping the name of what club to him, saying, and I think maybe you should be signing for.
I think from a style of play perspective, Man United would be his best destination. It's not going to be Man City.
Nope.
He's not going to want to play second fiddle to Haaland, and they're not going to bring anyone else into the mix. It's not going to be Liverpool because we don't really play to his we won't pay anyway, but just stylistically, he's not who we are looking for. I know he can drop deep and stuff, but I just don't think we're going to change the system for Harry Kane. The thing is, with Man United, they've looked at someone who's obviously a far, far inferior player like Weghorst. But at the end of the day, you can see in theory what Ten Hag's put there, and that was the best he could get in January. So he's like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll try a few things out. If Harry Kane had been playing in that number 10 role, Man United would have been dangerous in these last couple of months. And in fact, if anything, because of Weghorst and the experiment, it's probably been not the best time in this season for Man United. So I think there's only one real destination, which is Man United. Obviously, Sol Campbell did the unthinkable. He won't do that because his only thing at the moment is the Tottenham legacy. Sol Campbell wasn't as dedicated to Tottenham, and also he went to Arsenal and was ready-made for a team that was going to go on to do legendary things. Arsenal are getting there, but they're not quite there yet, so that's off the table. Chelsea, we just spoke about in the earlier segment, they ain't going to be ready to compete anytime soon. Newcastle, but is that seen as a step down? Where are they in a year's time? Yep. It's got to be Man United. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere abroad, because if he's not going to win multiple titles, or he's just going to pick up a Carabao or something, then he might as well take the record off Alan Shearer. So I'm going Man United.
I definitely want to swing at this.
Liam is chiming in before you get into the JP. Isn't that a comment on just how hard it is to find top tier strikers? One of the biggest clubs in the world could only get Weghorst for now. It is definitely a limited market, but it's exceptionally difficult in January when Man United were looking for reinforcements, and they were looking for reinforcements in January because Cristiano Ronaldo left 3 weeks into the season, which left them very light at the striker. But yeah, I mean, of all the top names, there's so many clubs looking for a striker this year. That's the one thing we should say. This summer is a very striker heavy window, and that's Spain, Italy, England. A lot of big clubs are looking for a guy who can score 20 goals, 25 goals on the bounce. I think Harry Kane is probably. Osimhen and Harry Kane are probably the two biggest names that are being talked about. And then there's it's almost like tiers. And there's some guys a tier below that who are not yet established stars, but have the potential to be established stars. And for that reason, Harry Kane should go for a lot of money. So JP California, where is it you think as his agent, you would be advising Harry Kane?
So I'm going to go the opposite of Izaz. Agents love to move players because, he gets more money in the transfer free. But you know what? Agents don't say, let's wait 2 years, let's wait a year. They say, let's move. Let's move now. Because if he can move this summer and play somewhere for 2 or 3 years, he might be able to get one more move after that. If he waits another year, his next contract is going to be kind of probably running his course for him. At that point, he's going to be 34, 35. That might be it for him. And he might be looking for the retirement age then. For me, I'm saying he pushes for a move now. I was thinking the one team that can definitely pay, needs a striker right off the bat, and is going to have his favorite coach of all time is going to be Chelsea. But they're not necessarily going to be competing for the title. And I think he wants a title, and I think he wants Champions League, and I think he wants something that Tottenham clearly can't offer him, and maybe even Chelsea can't. And I'm going to throw one out there, and this one's going to be out of left field. I'm going to sell him to Real Madrid. Benzema is coming near the age where they are going to be looking, and I don't think Mbappe is ready to leave just yet. I don't see him being kicked out, and that's Real Madrid's long-term, right? They want Mbappe in the next 3 years. But if you can pick up Harry Kane for 2 or 3 years, you can compete with Barca again for the league title, and you'll be competing 110% in the Champions League. And Harry Kane get in Spain, shit, I'm giving him 30, 35 goals a season. I'm saying Real Madrid are back into the Final Four every year of the Champions League, if not in the finals, and they're going to pay him. They're going to pay him because they can. And Benzema can move out on the right and Vinicius on the left, and you got a fucking strike force, and you already have a brand new midfield at Real Madrid, and there you go.
Okay. I mean, if the exercise is consider this, and you're an agent saying consider Real Madrid, fine. Hot take. I don't think that's anywhere close to possibility.
I mean, I'm just saying I did the opposite of Azaz.
Sure. Yeah. Real Madrid, I think, are going to be a really interesting team to follow over the next couple of windows. I think Mbappe is still very much in their thinking. But he actually is going to probably get sold. If he's going to get sold, it'll be this summer.
Oh, I don't think so.
He has 1 year left on his contract, and then he has a 3rd-year option that he has to trigger.
Didn't he just sign a contract with?
He did. 3 years, 2 years guaranteed, 1 year optional, and the optional is his trigger to say, I want to stay for another season. So if they're going to sell him, it's this summer, or they lose him for free potentially next summer. Which is kind of what the under.
All right, Harry Kane
under the surface of his contract was. And then even if I'm Real Madrid, I might be like, cool. Like, are we sure he's the guy we want to get? Because Erling Haaland out of Man City, because I can guarantee Haaland's got some sort of exit strategy to get out of Man City without it being a golden cage to get into Real Madrid, because he's going to be a Real Madrid player.
Yeah, I just don't see it for 3 or 4 seasons. And Benzema's
JP, I want him gone from the league now.
I get that. I don't think he's leaving until Pep leaves. That's my thing. As long as Pep's there, I think Haaland's there.
I think whatever, a couple of years. I'm going to say a couple of years. I think he's going to do what he did at Dortmund, and he's just a big fucking shark living in a tiny little goldfish bowl, and he's just going to want to go be a shark at the highest level. And I think that's for him, Real Madrid. Okay, so if I'm his agent, for me,
is it another season of no trophies?
I know. I'm going to say to him, what's your priority? If his priority is I want trophies, I'm going to say to him, cool. I think you need to get over this whole thing that Arsenal are the enemy, and maybe start looking at them as being a possible destination. Because if he goes to Man United, as a Man United fan, I love it. I think it increases our chances at trophies. But if he goes to Arsenal, I'd be like, you're going to win a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, that Arsenal team
with Harry Kane.
Nobody talks about this enough. They're the youngest team in the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
And they did it with like a pretty limited strike force up front. But if you had Harry Kane leading the line with Martinelli on the left and Saka on the right, and Gabriel Jesus is a rotational like striker, and you buy Odegaard,
another center back,
who's still fucking super young, continuing his development as a goal scoring midfield who can pull the strings, like you're kind of laughing. And I don't want any Arsenal fan to get excited. I don't think this is going to happen, but if I'm his agent, I am pointing out that everything he wants in the next 3 seasons would be down the road in Tottenham. And I'd be like, maybe you want to consider your family not having to move houses. And, I'd be saying all this shit to get him to go there.
They need to move houses so he would be safe from all the Tottenham fans that want to kill him. But yeah, like you could stay in London. And
there are photos of him as a kid wearing Arsenal kit.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is.
He's gone on to explain what that sounds like. He made it all sound very like logical.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens. I think he is an Arsenal hater for the rest of his days. I think he's a Tottenham guy. Like
he's made himself a Tottenham.
And ironically, the fact that he's a Tottenham guy is one of the reasons why I think a lot of Man United fans are a little bit like, I don't know about this guy. This guy is so Tottenham.
But the last Tottenham striker you got helped you fucking destroy for a while. Berbatov was sick.
Yeah, but
and Teddy Sheringham before that.
But Berbatov wasn't Tottenham at his core.
No, but he was.
And Teddy Sheringham was just fucking really good. But there's something they expand on it. Like there are people who literally think because he's a Spurs guy and it's in his DNA to be a Spurs guy, that means he can't possibly win a trophy.
It might be right, maybe.
Like I've heard United fans go, yeah, he could be like 20 goals and 25 goals, but it won't be in a cup final. It won't be in the key games. Like he's Spurs. And somewhere in my little brain, I'm like, well, I mean, there is something definitely in the water over there. I don't know. Does it stay in your blood when you leave? Luka Modric knew when to leave and it didn't like soak in. The losing mentality didn't soak into his bones. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not deliberately trying to shit on Tottenham. It's just how I feel. Although if he went to Man United, I would have a parade that day.
You'd buy that jersey first up.
Yeah, I would. And Brian, if you're out there watching, I know you've probably already turned it off. But it has to be talked about, Brian. He's going to go somewhere
soon.
We might as well talk about where we think makes sense. Man United, Arsenal, Real Madrid,
Chelsea.
As long as it's not Chelsea, I'm sure that's the hope. Okay, gents, that's the show. If anybody wants to talk about anything else, now's the time. Transfer rumors are starting to kick off. If anybody's got any like rumors that they're jazzed about or excited about. I heard Ollie Watkins to Man United the other day.
That's not happening. He's signing a new contract. Athletics already pretty much said it's the contract's there. It's almost done. It's completed.
I'm going to point something out because I've heard this said before, and I think it's funny. A contract doesn't mean you stay. A contract means you get paid a certain amount of money, and somebody then buys that contract off you.
I get that, but
it's not like I'm locking myself into a mortgage in this house. It's something that just guarantees their money. Like a big offer comes in, they could still sell. He could still push a sale. I don't think he's moving, by the way, either.
I don't think he's
when anybody talks about like it can't happen because he's just got a new contract. Like Brian,
he's not good enough for United. That's my thing. He's not good enough for United yet.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. I do think, but there is words that Villa are in talks with Barcelona for Torres. What's his name? Ferran Torres.
Yeah. He would be a good signing. He's got to go from there.
Yeah, he could be a really good signing. It's supposed to be 45 or 50 million, which would be our record. And there's a lot of reports in Spain saying that contract talks are already going for Villa to purchase him because we just got one of Barca's main head honchos, their director of football. So it'll be interesting to see.
I hope you don't buy him. I
don't want him. Really.
He's a hyped up player. Like
that's it.
He's part of like why Barcelona decided to spend that much money to Man City to buy him. Like when he was a bit part player at Man City,
and he's kind of a bit part player at Barca, and Luke is loving on him, like, oh, he's 23, he's a Spanish international, he plays for Spain. Yeah, but Spain isn't winning anything, so I don't understand that drive. Like I would much rather go for someone like Jonathan David.
Yeah. There's a hot new transfer rumor that we're gonna trade Luke to another channel that specializes in 18th century dolls.
They're gonna just use him as their blueprint.
Yeah, and for the first year that he's part of their program, they won't even notice because he won't actually attend any of the recordings.
You know what? I have to say thank you to Luke because he's been covering me on the 5 things quite a bit because I've been pretty busy.
Yeah,
but he sure as hell doesn't come to this stuff.
No. Brian Ireland from the Wings. Great.
He's been watching this whole time.
Great trade. So yeah, if any of you out there own another fan channel of dedicated community experts on any subject and are interested
We
in
also want to
a
talk to you about certain teams.
4'10", 6'3" with his hair, refugee from his own country who's just days ahead of the law at all times. Reach out to us. You DM us, and we'll maybe make that trade happen. We have one. We have
That guy.
a bag of balls ready to go. Happy trade. Brian's still going. Luke who? Who's this Luke guy you keep talking about? You know what's the best thing about this? He'll never watch this. He'll never know what we're talking about.
No, he won't.
We'll see. Probably not.
Yeah. He'll get 1,000 views on his next Aston Villa video, though.
He probably will. He's been doing all right on those. Hey, Paul, do you want to entice the viewership, all 40 of them, on what we have coming up this summer?
No, I don't know what we
okay.
have. How would I know what we have coming up this summer? Guys, like and subscribe.
I guess we're not shipping that.
No, we got some stuff coming up. The summer is like the weird off season where it's silly season is the main headline, and it's just all about transfer rumors. We usually try to play a few games where we'll get a fan to work as the director of football for their club. We'll give them a budget. They can sell players. They can buy players. They'll reveal their new club to us. Azaz and JP will be doing one for Liverpool and one for Aston Villa. I may do one with Dave to do Man United. Brian would do one for Spurs, but I think he's just going to maybe lay low for a couple of years.
Let's talk about guys not doing videos also.
Yeah.
Hold on, Brian. Where's your 5 things, dude?
And then we'll do some season reviews. Who's been the best players? How close were we with our guesses at the start of the season, all that shit. But yeah, most of it will be in the summer, really focusing on transfer window stuff. And then maybe a few drunk videos that we'll just do at a bar somewhere. People seem to like those. And by people, I mean me and Brian. We like to get drunk and record ourselves. So it's going to happen whether you guys watch it or not. It's happening. It's happening, everybody. We got some comments. Here we go.
Fine. Change it up. Be creative, Brian.
Oh. And then, yeah, I mean, Brian's not wrong. You do tend to do the same 5 things every week. Hey, VAR is bad.
That's why I got Luke doing it.
Emery's good. We need a striker. Our wingers aren't good enough. And
I had a really good comment actually this week, and then Luke didn't take it. So,
well, I mean,
what was it?
Didn't listen.
It was Villa's tactic to cover both of Tottenham's 6s, their double pivot, because as soon as their center backs got the ball, one of our strikers just sat, one of our guys sat. It was over. They didn't have anything to play through, and that first half, their XG was 0. Their XG in the first half versus Villa was actually 0. They had 0 shots on goal. They had 0 shots total. They had like no touches in Villa's 18-yard box. It was 0. It was beautiful.
See, now that's an interesting tactical analysis point.
And that was going to be my point, but I had to leave at halftime to go work.
And Brian says they don't have a double pivot.
You played with one this weekend, and it didn't work.
Interesting. I think Brian's going to tell you just why don't you focus on your own goddamn team and do 5 things that aren't always about the same thing. I think that's what he's going to say. I don't know. I'll leave it up to him to say. Okay, gents. Anything else?
No.
Like and subscribe.
Me.
Like and subscribe, guys. Here's the deal.
Especially
JP California has a dog. He needs to feed the dog. He can't feed the dog unless you guys like and subscribe. Brian Island.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in a hotel room, lads. I couldn't resist. I had to hop on. What's going on? We don't have a fucking
nothing.
We don't have any organization whatsoever. You guys are better than us. I get it.
Look,
it sucks.
Look. Which one of these topics do you want to do real fast while you're here? Either? All of them?
Start. Where do you want to start?
Brian, legitimate question. I'll pose it to you now.
Shoot.
You are Harry Kane's agent.
Yeah. His brother.
Or
his brother-in-law, by the way.
Oh my God, you're his brother. In-law? Oh, that's funny.
Well, I think it's his brother. Actually, I think it's his actual brother.
Where do you tell him to go? What do you tell him to do next? What is
Learn
next
to
season to Harry Kane if you're his agent?
If I'm his
Stop
agent, I'm
slobbering on
saying
people.
if I'm his agent, I'm saying go to Bayern Munich as an example. Go win a couple of trophies. You're still only 29, going on 30. Go get the trophies. Get everybody sort of stupid, kind of like if you don't win this, you're not a real player, kind of thing, out of the way. Get the trophies, win them because now I've won something. I won a Bundesliga and all those things, and then go back to Spurs when they've gotten hopefully, and this is not necessarily going to happen, probably not, but go back to the Premier League and beat the records. But go get some trophies and then come back and beat the records. He's got enough time. He can go play. He can go play outside the Premier League, win some stuff, come back and still be fine. That's what I would say. But
Bayern Munich, though, you're telling him to get out of the country?
I think I still think he'll end up at Spurs next season, though. I really think he'll still play at Spurs. I don't know what you want to say about that. I don't know if you want to say, I know a lot of people will say it's romantic, playing for his boyhood club, stays there, one-man club, blah, blah, blah. Some people might think that, rate that. Other people might say that he's just a weak-ass motherfucker and doesn't have a winning mentality. Both are partially true.
I was saying
Azaz's
for
agent
Jack, you guys
to him
forced
was
him
stay
to leave.
one more year at Spurs until your contract runs out, and then get a big parachute contract to the next club and get a big chunk of cash.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things are true. I think the thing that has to be taken into account here, and I guess you guys spoke about this already, but just to add to it, I think the thing about Harry Kane is that he has a family. He's got his fourth kid about to be, just announced recently. He is a family man. He does want his family to stay where they are. Now, how much he weighs that, I don't know, but it seems like that's a heavy part of his decision making. So whether he decides to leave or not, going to Manchester is likely not the case because of that. And now I know that might seem like, whatever, players do whatever they do. If you get a sense of who Harry Kane is, you might think a bit differently. I don't think he's going to easily just go to Manchester because it's more money. I don't think that's the case in this scenario. And I do think that's the case in others. And you can laugh at me all you like. I just don't think it's the case. And I'm not saying he won't do it. I think it'll be a really hard decision. He may make that decision. He may do it, and that's fine if he does. But I think it's a really hard decision for him. That's why he hasn't done it yet or forced it yet. But this may be the season that he does. If he does, he deserves it. And Spurs have failed him. It's on Spurs the reason that he isn't getting what he should be getting. They've failed him. He has not failed us. So I would ultimately pat him on the back, say thank you. You deserve whatever you get wherever you go. And I'm sorry we couldn't give it to you.
Is there a destination that if you went to them, it would tarnish his legacy to the point that you'd be like, oh,
Chelsea.
fuck you?
Chelsea? Yeah. Chelsea, I mean, it's already happening with Poch and to some extent. It doesn't tarnish with Poch completely because I think Poch was fucked by the board and by the club. But at the same time,
literally.
But at the time, it hurts a lot still. Like, even though it wasn't Poch's fault, it's still Poch going to the enemy, and that hurts. So that's going to be difficult. If Kane went with Poch, it would just be like, the worst possible scenario. I don't think I could watch football again.
I mean, Kane
This is
going
him
to
Harry,
Chelsea or
and then it's
Arsenal?
him going, what?
I don't think I could
Come
do
over
it.
here.
I would think
We're
I'd be
getting the band together.
Win. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you guys spoke about this obviously earlier. I just got home from work, so I don't know what you spoke about when it comes to the Poch to Chelsea scenario. But I do think that again, it's similar to Poch as it is to Kane, that we had the opportunity to bring Poch back. We had the opportunity initially to give Poch what he should have been given in the first place, which is, properly being supported with the right transfers at the right time, being supported when he wasn't at all, and then being completely shafted and then blamed for poor form away from home for not winning. Like, I figure it was like 12 or 13 games not winning away from home. It's all this like, oh, blame it on Poch, blame it on the coach, blame it on it's not any of those things. And I know that a lot of people are like, whatever sort of perception that there is oh, it's the Levy out crew. It is Levy's fault that all of these things have happened. And that's just the bottom line. It really, if you argue that, you haven't been paying attention. And and it's not Poch's fault, but I will struggle nonetheless.
And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. All right. Well, surprise visit by Brian Island. Right.
Yeah. Hey guys, sorry about that. I just long work days. I'm in the Niagara on the lake, and I was able to luckily pop on and get a chance
Niagara
to
on the lake.
Yeah.
Where he is an expert grape manipulator. The finest wines of the Niagara region, each handheld manipulation by Brian Ireland.
Yeah, and who said a double pivot? Who said we have a double pivot? Was that?
What's JP?
We don't have a double pivot, man.
Dude, I'll show you 10 photos from the game that shows you guys a double pivot.
No, we have two defensive midfielders who don't know what they're doing. That isn't a double pivot.
They could be in a position like a double pivot. Just because they don't play well doesn't mean they didn't try to be a double
but they're
pivot.
not playing it like a double pivot.
And that's this show, guys.
They're not playing it like a double pivot. It's just like, here's two defensive midfielders. We don't have any players who can do anything else, so we're just going to throw them at the fucking see what happens. It's awful.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the North End. This is the North End.